2015. Call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. As always, we start off our meeting with a safety share. This evening it's in regards to lightning, the myths and facts. And Councillor Tabushi and Councillor Lake are going to share this one.
We're gonna tag team this one. Kelly, I'm gonna tell you some myths about lightning.
And I will tell you the facts.
I'm pretty excited about that. Here we go. Myth number one, Kelly. Councillor Tabushi. Lightning never strikes the same place twice.
In truth, lightning often strikes the same place repeatedly, especially if it's a tall, pointy, isolated object. The Empire State Building is hit nearly 100 times a year, and in Canada reference, the CN Tower as well.
I've heard that if it's not raining and there are no clouds overhead, you're safe from lightning.
Not true. Lightning often strikes more than 3 miles from the center of the thunderstorm, far outside the rain or thunderstorm clouds. Bolts from the blue can strike 10 to 15 miles from the thunderstorm.
How about rubber tires, Councillor Tabushi? Do they protect us from when we're sitting in a car?
Most cars are safe from lightning, but it's the metal roof and metal sides that protect you, not the rubber tires. Remember, convertibles, motorcycles, bicycles, and open-shelled outdoor recreational vehicles, cars with fiberglass shells, offer no protection from lightning. When lightning strikes a vehicle, it goes through the metal frame to the ground. Don't lean on lean on your car doors during a thunderstorm.
I hope the mayor heard that about motorcycles.
Yeah.
How about if somebody is hit by lightning, are they electrified? Can we go out and touch them?
Yeah. The human body does not store electricity. It is perfectly safe to touch a lightning victim to give them first aid. It is the most chilling of lightning myths. Imagine if someone died because people were afraid to give CPR.
If I'm outside in a thunderstorm, Councillor Tabushi, should I seek shelter under a tree to stay dry?
Never. Being underneath the tree is the second leading cause of lightning casualties. Better to get wet than get fried.
Words to live by. If I'm in a house, am I 100% safe from lightning?
No, a house is a safe place to be during a thunderstorm as long as you avoid anything that conducts electricity. This means staying off corded phones, electrical appliances, wires, TV cables, computers, plumbing, metal doors, windows. The windows are hazardous for two reasons. Wind generally associated with thunderstorms can blow objects into the windows and breaking it and shattering glass. In older houses, lightning comes through cracks in the sides of windows.
So, if I'm trapped outside and lightning is imminent, should I lie flat on the ground?
No. Lying flat increases your chances of being affected by potential deadly ground current. If you're caught outside in a thunderstorm, you should keep moving towards safe shelter.
Well, Ms. Councillor Tabushi, if I'm ever stuck in a thunderstorm, I'm going to make sure you're nearby.
Also, to remember to fishermen, or if you're out on the lake, is dangerous, and if you're a golfer, heed the lightning or warning for lightning because you are out exposed.
Unless you have a 2-iron, because even God can't hit a 2-iron.
Thank you very much for that, councillors. Okay. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, we have a CEO report, Your Worship, a Healthy Kids Community Challenge report, and the bylaw that goes with that.
Okay, so 8B will be Healthy Kids and 12B will be Bylaw for Healthy Kids.
That's correct.
Report. Anything else? No, hearing none. I do have a motion here. Council hereby accepts the agenda for Monday, July 20, 2015, regular meeting of Council as circular amended. Moved by Councillor Fox, second by Councillor Lake. Any questions? Hearing none, call question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Any disclosure of interest? Hearing none. I have a minutes of the meeting. I have the council hereby adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on Monday, June 29, 2015, and the closed meeting of council held on June 29, 2015, as circulated amended. Moved by Councillor Tabushi, second by Councillor Lake. Any questions of those minutes? Omissions or errors? Hearing none, I call a question. All in favor? Thank you. No delegation this evening, no council reports. Right down to the CO reports. Report on the liquefied natural gas proposal. Daryl, going to give us a highlight on that report?
Thank you, Worship. On March 31st, 2015, Northeast Midstream Limited Partnership made a presentation to a number of regional stakeholders regarding liquefied natural gas, or LNG, as an alternative energy source to electricity, propane, and heating oil. Northeast is a Toronto-based limited partnership proposing to construct a small-scale LNG facility utilizing the TransCanada natural gas pipeline near Nipigon and transport the fuel to the North Shore municipalities, where it would be distributed through a local distribution network owned and operated by a local distribution company. Since March 31st, administration has worked diligently with Northeast to further research the feasibility of bringing LNG to the communities located on Lake Superior North Shore. To this end, the municipalities of Scriber, Terrace Bay Marathon, Manitouwadge, Wawa, Minden Hills, and Dysart, which are in the Halliburton area, have been working collaboratively at the CAO level to move this project forward through a non-binding memorandum of understanding. The initial request from Northeast was that an Ontario Energy Board franchise agreement be signed and entered into by the group of municipalities. The consensus of the group was that the 20-year period of the franchise agreement represented a significant commitment at this stage of the project life cycle. Therefore, a precedent agreement was created. The precedent agreement sets out that Northeast must undertake the necessary feasibility studies, including market research, engineering design, economic and financial assessments, secure the required project funding, and obtain all the necessary approvals to plan and construct the project. Northeast will be solely responsible for obtaining the necessary financing and risk capital to conduct the feasibility and engineering stage. If Northeast determines that the project is feasible, the precedent agreement requests that the municipality enter into the model franchise agreement. The model franchise agreement is the Ontario Energy Board regulated approval that will allow the project to obtain the necessary leave to construct permits to advance the project from feasibility to construction and then ultimately commissioning. The town's legal counsel has reviewed the precedent agreement as added language which sets out the conditions precedent in favor of the town and ensures that the ratepayers' long-term interests are protected. The precedent agreement would become effective as of the date signed and remain in effect until the earlier of A, June 30th, 2020, B, the date that the municipality signs the franchise agreement, or C, the date that Northeast or the municipality exercises its termination rights pursuant to the terms of the agreement. Financial implications are none at this time. As stated, Northeast will be solely responsible for obtaining the necessary financing and risk capital to conduct the feasibility and engineering stage of the project. Your options are A, to enter into a precedent agreement with Northeast Midstream, or B, do not enter into an agreement. And your administration recommends that option A be approved and that a bylaw be adopted entering into an agreement with Northeast Midstream LP, and further that the mayor and clerk be authorized to bind the corporation to the agreement.
Thank you for that report. I do have a motion here that council hereby accepts the attached report and recommendation liquefied natural gas proposal, and for that the appropriate bylaw be adopted, entering into an agreement with Northeast Midstream LP later this evening. Moved by Councillor Lake, second by Councillor Fox. Questions? Councillor Lake.
So I know you've been pretty involved in this project. Natural gas, where I've seen it in cities where it's cheap, it's a good source. One, do you feel like this is actually a feasible project from what you've seen of it? And two, with all the additional work that would be required to get it to Marathon, would it actually represent a significant savings on propane or oil?
So, yeah, I think it's certainly legitimate from the perspective that it was included as an announcement in this year's Ontario budget. So the Minister of Energy has directed the OEB to come up with a program that's going to offer $200 million in loan financing for rural natural gas production, as well as $30 million in grants. So I think that probably signifies that it's the potential of a real project is there. In terms of the feasibility of it, the price point for liquefied natural gas generally falls between natural gas pipeline versus our traditional methods here in Marathon. So that would be your fuel oil propane. So it's certainly cheaper. And the way to envision it, it's very much, the way it would be handled, the way it would be distributed is very much similar to propane.
Okay. So it'd be a tank that was at your house.
That's correct. So it would be trucked from Nipawin to Marathon, housed in a mother station, right? And then it would be distributed throughout the community.
If it's cheaper, it's great.
Yeah, when I was looking at the franchise agreement that came out, excuse me, it originally was, developed in the year 2000. What was the lag? I mean, we're talking 15 years where nothing has happened with it. Is it? And I had some note that because I'll say natural gas now is more readily available because of fracking. Is that the reasoning, or is it globally has it become more popular, I'll say.
I think there's a couple of things driving the fact that the province is looking at more rural natural gas, and actually there's a number of communities in southern Ontario, believe it or not, that don't have pipeline gas as well. One is the cost of energy, right? This is a cheaper source than traditional fossil fuels, so it's a way to make us more competitive in rural areas. And the second is there's no question, that the market has become more competitive for the commodity itself. Right, it's trading at a much lower price, which makes it the supply there as opposed to the demand. So, I think the availability to uptake off of the major pipelines is there. So, this bodes well with where the province wants to see some of the energies diverted in terms of getting off the traditional sources of energy and fuel, especially in northern Ontario.
Just to follow up to that too. Because I know it goes to Nipigon, because when I worked in Nipigon, we had natural gas at my location, and then it went north up to, I'll say, the 11 corridor. There is no, because of Minton, was it? And
Minden, that's correct.
Minton and Dysta, they are, I guess, in the same situation where they're being bypassed by the pipeline, I'll say that.
That's correct. So they any project that we undertook, they wouldn't be involved in terms of the actual physical project. But in terms of our approach and the sharing of resources and and that type of exercise, we've included them in our group because they're in a similar situation, just a different geography.
And from us going to what was the franchise agreement to a protocol or
Precedent
agreement, that will still fall within the Energy Board's mandate.
That's correct.
And
So
hopefully help in North NEM get the funding.
So what has to happen is the municipality, obviously through council, has to approve us entering into a franchise agreement for Northeast to be able to construct a project. So that's really the next stage of the project. We've been in contact with the OEB through this entire process, and actually they very much like the fact that we've instituted this new procedure in place instead of just jumping into the franchise agreement, because a lot of times they bind municipalities and corporations for 20 years, whereas we're being very creative and coming up with a feasibility solution to precede the actual agreement. So they've also asked that if we move forward with this, that they could share it with other municipalities, because it's the first time somebody's looked at a creative model to use to look at the feasibility of natural gas.
So I googled NEM, and they looking like they wanted to do this in Thorold. Do we know what the status of that is? Is it possible for you or somebody who's at AMO around that area, because you're kind of in the general area, to maybe take a jaunt over and see what that facility looks like?
So we do. So I spoke to the CAO from the city of Thorold. So the project is just entering. It hasn't been constructed yet.
Yeah.
It has all the necessary approvals. They've now raised the necessary risk capital, and it will be going to construction in the fall of 2015.
So when you say they've raised, the municipality raised the money?
No, the Northeast Midstream.
Okay, all the risk money goes to Northeast.
That's correct.
Okay.
Councilor Fox, anything?
No.
So I'm glad to see that it was one of our biggest catches was the actual franchise thing being taken out of there, and going forward, if any NEM has the potential of bringing us forward and there's a business case, then we'll, as Darryl said, we'll jump on board with that based on the business case and the business model moving forward for the residents and the business in our community. So go ahead.
Thorold, did they enter a franchise agreement, or was it the local communities? Can you kind of get some gist of those?
So Thorold's a little bit different. So Thorold has natural gas. They're the
end point where they
the rural area of Thorold does not have natural gas, and a lot of Thorold's industrial base is in the rural area. So this will supply the industrial base for Thorold.
So that Thorold is then similar to Nipigon, where the pipeline ends. That's where they all liquefy it and then ship it from there.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah, our biggest problem obviously is the distance compared to 200 kilometers of trucking, and so that business model will come out and give us a detailed cost analysis of what we're going to be paying per liter for liquefied gas.
But in a sense, there we ship propane and heating fuel here, so I mean we're shipping it anyways.
Oh, yeah.
I mean that source as opposed to electricity.
So with this motion, coming through with the bylaw later, I'll just identify as stated clearly that we're interested in the project going forward, but we're just in the preliminary stages and we're not committing to anything other than supporting the project right now from NEM.
That's fully correct. There's no financial commitment on our part. It's non-binding in the sense that we're not committing to the franchise agreement. Without the franchise agreement, no company can undertake natural gas projects in a municipality. So we're purely looking at the feasibility of this.
So with that being said, I'll call a question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks for that report.
Okay, I'll skip over the other 90 pages that I looked over.
Okay. Up next, we have the Healthy Kids, Joe.
So thank you, Worship. In March 2014, the town submitted an application to the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care for the Healthy Kids Community Challenge Grant. Finally, as of July 17, 2015, the town finally received confirmation of funding support of our application, as well as the supporting documentation and legal agreements. To process the funding agreement with the Ministry, Council will need to pass a supporting resolution to be sent to the applicable provincial ministries. The province, through the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care, will provide the town with $375,000 to undertake the project. $125,000 will be provided per provincial fiscal year starting April 1st, 2015 and ending March 31st, 2018. Your options are A, to accept the funding agreement with the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care, or B, forgo the grant and associated project funds. And your administration recommends that option A be selected, authorizing the town to enter into a funding agreement with the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care for the Healthy Kids Community Challenge project, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the funding agreement on behalf of the municipality.
Good. Thank you for the report. Do you have a motion here? Council hereby accepts the attached report and recommendation on the Healthy Kids Community Challenge Grant Agreement, and further that the appropriate bylaw be adopted and enter into a funding agreement with the Ministry of Long-Term Health and for the Healthy Kids Community Challenge project. And further that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the corporation. Moved by Councillor Lake, second by Councillor Fox. Any questions of that report? Councillor Tabushi.
Of course. Given our state of flux in our say, organizational chart, are we able to administer this, and will we get, because if I remember correctly, 10% of it was going towards administration costs, and we're going to utilize that either through a intern or are we going to absorb it through our original structure?
So one of the things that we've learned, I guess one of the things that I've learned through the last 2 months in navigating the funding process, is what was originally applied for is not what we received in funding, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So what's been spelled out now over the 3 years is year one, which we're already in. The only activities that are eligible to be funded are the hiring of a local project manager to report to a local steering committee. And then what has to happen is the communities have to undertake a comprehensive needs assessment, which really identifies the programming that's required to meet the government objectives of the project. Years 2 and 3 provide dollars to continue to keep that project manager on contract, as well as implement activities to get kids active. So what we're proposing, I met with the co-chairs, Ellie Arancha from Marathon and Colleen Gelman from Nipigon last week. And what we're looking at doing is likely housing a contract manager out of one of the supporting organizations, and ultimately us being the paymaster for the project. Okay. So very similar to what we did at the Building Bridges project.
Okay, because although Marathon Central for the 17 corridor, it's not central for the 11 corridor. And I was worried that either we would have to absorb the cost of running it because we're I'll say the paymaster, the funding's coming through us. The structure of that committee, because we had 19 communities plus and organizations that would be beneficial to it, how is it going to be structured? Is that part of the first year mandate?
Yeah, so I'm working with the co-chairs right now on some good governance practices. One, in hiring the contract manager. I'm ensuring we have proper job descriptions, contracts, things in place, so that's managed properly. And then the second, the setting up of the steering committee and what it should look like as per the ministry guidelines, so that number one, that it meets the requirements of the funding agreement, but the second is so it's manageable. Right? It's just, there's no way you can manage 19 people on a committee, right? So how do we create a committee that's representative of the project, but also representative of the communities? So over the next month, the co-chairs and I have put a schedule together to arrive at that, so we meet the requirements of the funding agreement.
Okay. I just caution again, and we're going to be second, and we may have a voice on it, we may not. But this isn't reinventing the wheel, because the district health does a lot of things for prenatal care, and for activity. The school board should be active in their half hour a day of activity. Us as communities should have either programming or facilities available. I worry that we're going to create another level of bureaucracy, and none of this gets out onto the ground floor where it really should be. So, I, encourage you, and us to make sure that we don't reinvent the wheel, or just give the money to the district health to run a program. So, because some of the thing is to get it into your community, right? 19 or whatever.
Yeah, that's a very good point Councillor Tabushi makes, is certainly we don't want to produce as much as the province wants us to produce a report, we certainly want to produce a report that we're going to be able to make actionable in years 2 and 3, right? And I think it's really a collection of a couple things. One is, what activities that are currently offered in our communities, and where are the gaps?
Yeah.
Right? Is it an underserviced population not having the funding dollars, whatever it may be? I think that's the important part of the project, so that we can get kids active, whether it's, dollars, whether it's, skills development, whether it's coaching, whatever it may be.
And we won't be isolated. We have gaps in certain demographics not getting, being active. I'm sure it's similar across our at least catchment area. So, and I encourage, this group to, use it wisely, I guess, in a sense, and actually let's benefit people like the kids who need it. So, sorry.
So the original onset of the discussion was to identify the gaps within the different agencies that are providing their services, as Councillor Tabushi identified, and bring them all together so we're providing the best adequate services and engagement with the youth in our communities to have them get off the couch and participate into some healthy activities and healthy eating programs within the communities of support. I would just recommend that since we've been the lead on this file right from the onset, that we make sure that the individual that's hired, wherever that individual comes from, is located in our community, Marathon, because we have been the lead, and I would hate to see us have, through the committee, hiring an individual that's been in another community that has really no lead on this project from the onset.
Yeah, and that's a very good point you make, Your Worship. And ultimately, we are the legal contract administrator, right? So, we have that responsibility of due diligence to make sure that the project meets the requirements that the province sets out, that we enter into the agreement with.
Good, thank you. Anything else?
No, I think that ultimately we said it was supposed to be a bit of a local job creation. That there's some young people in our town that would be excellent for this.
Okay.
Good to hear you say that.
Primarily the health. The health unit is supplying or funding food to the Thunder Bay high school schools. I don't think they're doing it to the surrounding regions whatsoever. As much of a fight we put up, they just say they don't have the resources for
Red
it.
Cross does our school.
Red Cross?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
Okay. So anyway, I think the project's going to identify all those weaknesses within our different systems throughout the region, and bring a report to the committee, and the committee can decide what's the best route through the manager, how to address the needs of the communities and the kids in the communities and the programs we need. So it's finally there. We can get this off and running and have it set up over the next 3 years. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks for the report. Okay, a couple more motions. A motion here in regards to the following check runs be approved for payment. Accounts payable in the amount of $1,036,498.76 and payroll in the amount of $173,045. Moved by Councillor Lake, second by Councillor Fox. Any questions of that payroll? Accounts payable? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now we get some bylaws. Bylaw number 1863 being a bylaw to authorize the Corporation Township Marathon to a franchise precedent agreement with Northwest Midstream LP, Northwest LP, to be read a first, second time this 20th day of July 2015. Moved by Councillor Fox, second by Councillor Lake. Any questions? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now, bylaw number 1864 being a bylaw to authorize the Corporation of Town of Marathon to enter into a funding agreement with the Ministry of Long-Term Health and Long-Term Care for the Healthy Kids Community Challenge Program, to be read a first, second time this 20th day of July 2015. Moved by Councillor Fox and Councillor Lake. Thank you. And any questions of that? Motion here none. Call question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And third reading of those bylaws, bylaw number 1863 and 1864 be read a third time, finally passes 20th day of July 2015. Moved by Councillor Debuchy, second by Councillor Lake. Any questions? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, motion here that the Marathon Economic Development Corporation's 2015 annual general meeting and the 2014 annual report be presented. Moved by Councillor Debuchy, second by Councillor Fox. Any questions of that report? Hearing none. I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. There was a report here for the Marathon Humane Society, but I guess they're not here this evening. Just wanted to make note that they have just celebrated their 15 years of community service in the community, and they had a fundraiser on Sunday at Putts and Paws, and there was over $1,028, I believe, raised that Sunday.
That's great.
28 participants. I took part with my spouse, and it was a very good day. We had a lot of fun, and they had some nice little prizes, and so it was a good day. And I want to thank the individuals for putting it on, and we had a good day, and they raised a lot of money for the Humane Society here in Marathon. A couple of announcements before we do adjourn the meeting. Port Hope Pool will reopen Tuesday, August the 4th, back to regular hours, and swimming lessons will take place August 10th through the 21st. So if you're interested in learning how to swim or want to enhance your swimming abilities, please go over to the rec center and sign up for those swimming lessons. The 2015 summer race begins Monday, August the 10th. There's going to be multiple opportunities for you to book ice for different things if you want to utilize the ice. So you can get over there, and if you want to do a little bit 3-on-3, 4-on-4, just drop in hockey with your friends. Go over and talk to the staff at the rec center, and they'll accommodate you there. Beat the Heat Summer Hockey League will also take place starting 4-on-4. This is a 4-on-4 hockey session will take place starting August the 11th. So if you're interested in playing with that, by all means, who would the contact be there, Dale?
Myself.
Okay, so contact our CAO, Daryl Skorczynski, to get involved in that. A lot of fun. The 2015 Marathon Trisport will take place throughout the month of August. The August throughout the month, the whole month. That'd be a little too hard, I think. Throughout the weekend of August 21st to 23rd. And this year's Trisport will contain 2 games of slow pitch, 2 games of ice hockey, and a 4-person golf scramble on the Sunday. Of course, there's always a dance to participate in that weekend. So the dance will take place in the parking lot arena on Saturday, August 22nd, starting at 8 p.m. and it'll run to 2 a.m. So come on out and support the local Trisport. As we were talking earlier before the meeting started, Trisport does bring a huge economic impact to the community. We look forward to this, so hopefully there's a lot of teams out there that are interested in playing this year and to participate, local and as well as out-of-town friends and guests. So hope everybody has a great weekend. Anything else that I might have missed? Councillor Lake?
I would urge the CAO to maybe rename the hockey league from Beat the Heat to, I don't know, Start the Heat, or Find Some Heat, or
Find some heat, yeah, for sure. Yeah, good comment. Prior to our adjournment of this regular meeting, we will be going into an in-camera meeting to discuss proposal pending acquisition, disposition of municipality and local boards, as well as labor relations or employee negotiations. So, with that being said, nothing else on the agenda. We'd like to adjourn at the hour of 7:30. Hopefully everything was well at home before we adjourn on the new system.
Let us know if it's not.
If there is any little bugs, please call over to the town hall and let us know if everything went well. It seemed like it was pretty good last time, and Jason said he got most of the bugs out of it. So if there is something that you didn't see or hear, or there's something wrong with it, just call us up and let us know from home what you've seen or didn't see. So with that being said, I'll call the meeting adjourned at the hour of 7:30 p.m. Moved by Councillor Lake, second by Councillor Debuchy. Thank you and have a good night.
I figured. I looked at my phone, somebody calling me, I'm like, I knew it was.
Never.